Welcome back, Bat Team. We are back once again to talk about Batwoman Season 3, and it's been a while. We took a little bit of a break here. It's been I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks in between episode 11 and episode 12, which we just got last night. And, given how last episode ended, I wasn't really sure where things were going to go. Just like with DC's Legend Tomorrow, where we're nearing the end of the season. Next week is the season finale. So with this big 2 to 3 week break in between episodes 11 and 12, I wasn't really sure what was being set up here. But now this episode, just like with the new episode of Legend Tomorrow, which you can check out my review and breakdown for that as well, there's some unexpected things that happened in this episode that I did not expect, but I actually really enjoyed it. Batwoman for this season, there's been some really big highlights, but then there's also been some less interesting, more boring parts for me, at least in my opinion. But this is one of the episodes that is definitely one of the highlights. I really enjoyed myself. There's some really cool stuff going on here, and it was really more of an Alice-centric episode, and I really enjoyed that because I've always loved the character of Alice, aka Beth Kane, and of course Rachel Skarsten's performance in the role is amazing. She's one of the best parts of the show, but this episode is a really interesting journey for that character. So anyways, before we get too much into detail here, I do want to give a quick spoiler warning. If you've not seen the episode, definitely make sure to go check out Batwoman Season 3, Episode 12 on the CW. But for now, guys, let's go and jump into this and break down the new episode of Batwoman Season 3. So like I said, this is an Alice-centric episode, so we start off with Alice actually breaking into Wayne Enterprises, and she steals the Joy Buzzer, uses it on herself, and then wakes up, all of a sudden is Beth Kane once again. She's a brunette all over again, and now, she's in court, and they deem her no longer criminally insane. And so Ryan is upset with her, though, because she stole the buzzer, and she knows that Ryan wanted to use that on her brother Marcus to cure him from being Joker 2.0. So we have Beth back, and it's a really, again, not something I was expecting to see play out in this episode, but then when she goes to visit her own grave of Beth Kane, all of a sudden, Ocean shows up. Of course, Ocean, her former love interest, who died last season. I actually really enjoyed his character. He shows up, and it's clearly just her envisioning him, because throughout this episode, she's just going completely mentally insane, and so she watches him die all over again, and then wakes up in the sewer as Alice. So there's a lot of confusing things with her character in this episode of alright, what's actually happening, and what is she just hallucinating about? Because then also we see Mouse show up, which was great to see both these characters and actors return for this episode to help progress Alice's story forward. So Mouse shows up and is kind of haunting her as well. So she decides to go back and visit the toy maker for another Joy Buzzer. But when she does, of course, Marcus is there as well, because Marcus is working with the toy maker, and he just ends up full on just straight out shooting the toy maker, killing her, and it's oh, there's too many crazy people in the room. So, no more toy maker, which, was a little disappointing, but then again, wasn't that big of a deal either. So, then he actually uses laughing gas, the Joker toxin or Joker laughing gas, as we saw revealed at the end of last episode that he now has access to. He uses that laughing gas on Alice, knocks her out. So clearly it's different than laughing gas in the comics, where literally if you use laughing gas on a person, they not only just start uncontrollably laughing, but they actually laugh until they die. So luckily it pretty much just knocks her out for now. And so then when she wakes up, we get the reveal that Marcus has some more hostages, and he has fully kidnapped the entire Black Glove Society. So we have members like Jada Jet, so she has been kidnapped. We have Barbara Keene, who is the ex-wife of Commissioner James Gordon, mother of JJ Gordon, who in the comics is, of course, Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl's brother, who is actually an insane criminal murder psychopath, kind of similar to Marcus. We also have Jeremiah Arkham, the founder of Arkham Asylum, as well as Mario Falcone, who I don't know who Mario is, but I just figured I'd mention him here just because he's a Falcone, so that's pretty cool. Some nice DC Batman references there with those characters. And Marcus asks Alice to be his Harley Quinn. Be the Harley Quinn to my Joker. And of course, at first, she's super hesitant about it, and she's like, no way. But then he actually explains a couple things about how they were born on the same day, quote, born, as in like their villainous psychotic personas, because on that fateful day in 2003, when Beth became Alice, when Kate and Beth's car went off the road and was basically, her whole life was destroyed by the Joker, turns out that bus that ran that car off the road was the one that Marcus and the rest of his schoolmates were on that Joker kidnapped. So the same day that Marcus became Joker 2.0 and got hit with the joy buzzer is the same day that Beth became Alice. So that's something that I'm honestly surprised I didn't connect the dots to at first, because it's honestly kind of obvious, but I actually do really like that connection, that they were kind of like born on the same day. But that doesn't really matter too much, because then Batwoman shows up, she fights Marcus, Luke gets the joy buzzer away from Alice, Marcus of course escapes because we still have one episode left of the season for him to be the big bad villain. Alice is back in Arkham though, and again she's still seeing Ocean and Mouse once again, and then we end off the episode with the big cliffhanger that Alice did something when she was in the clutches of Marcus. Apparently she told him how to access the Batcave. So now this big cliffhanger of the episode is that Marcus, aka Joker 2.0, has access to the Batcave, which of course is not good news. That is very, very bad news. So we'll see how that plays out in next week's episode. Again, next week is the Batwoman Season 3 finale. I'm actually really excited for it. I'm really excited to see where things go from here. We're going to get our final showdown between Batwoman and Joker 2.0. I'm actually really excited for it. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about this week's episode of Batwoman Season 3? Let me know all your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments below. And thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep it to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.